Welcome to Politics Unplugged. I'm Ann Trujillo. Mark June 26th on your calendar. This weekend, we're just over 5 weeks away from primary election, where we will learn which of these 8 men and women hoping to be Colorado's next governor will be on the ballot in November. And current state treasurer Walker Stapleton is one of the Republicans hoping to win your vote. And he is joining us right now to talk about this election season. I think most people know you as our Treasury Secretary. State treasurer, I guess I should say. What qualifies you then to be governor?
Well, I am now the longest serving statewide elected Republican, and before that I ran a small but publicly traded real estate company. And the reason I ran for treasurer in the first place is I really wanted to deal with the economic policy issues that are confronting Colorado. And unfortunately, we have a ton of them. During my time as treasurer, I've been on the front lines of every important policy battle we fought in this state, from the largest tax increase in Colorado history, Amendment 66, to leading the effort as the co-chair with Governor Ritter to defeat Amendment 69, the state-run single-payer health care system that would have been terrible for the business community in Colorado. And I've been the longest voice for reforming our public pension system because it's the biggest debt that we've had in state government. And what I think Colorado desperately needs is somebody who's had leadership in the private sector, can combine it with leadership on important public policy issues, and proactively get to work solving our challenges in this state, from health care to our crumbling infrastructure, and make this a place where future generations want to live. And that starts with my kids. I have 3 of them, 10, 6, and 4, and everybody else's kids as well.
You've spent a lot of time and money on ads right now, and one of them out there right now, I know you're taking a lot of heat for, where you said, I was the only treasurer in the country with the courage to support Donald Trump's tax cuts.
Yes.
Do you take that back now?
Not at all.
That's not true.
No, there was a White House press release on the tax plan, and it listed us as the only treasurer. And we did not. We went off the White House press release. I did not go state by state asking my colleagues if they supported it or not. And that's what it was. That's what it was based on. So I'm happy to find out that I was one of a few treasurers to support the president's tax plan. What's important is what the president's tax plan is going to do for Coloradans, and what it is going to do for Coloradans is that if you're making $60,000. You're going to see your tax bill reduced from approximately $1,700 to about $100. We're going to see tax relief for 75% of people living in Colorado, and that's the most important thing, not the process semantics of whether I was the first or second person to endorse the tax plan.
Are you taking a gamble by aligning yourself with President Trump, just knowing how Colorado, we're a state now of primarily independence?
Well, not at all, because an election for governor should be an election for a strong chief executive, and that strong chief executive should be willing to tackle the economic challenges that Colorado is facing. Washington is not going to solve our health care challenges. They're not going to solve our infrastructure challenges. They're not going to solve our pension challenges. A strong leader in the governor's office is. And I've said consistently I will continue to work with President Trump in the White House on policies that make life better for Coloradans, and I think Coloradans want life to be better for them, and the first step is electing a governor who's going to be a strong, proactive leader.
Although some people might hold that against you, that you're a strong.
Well, you know, in this business, people hold a lot of things against you, but I'm going to stay true to my principles and beliefs, and run for governor based on my record as treasurer of this state for the last 7 or 8 years. Sometimes it feels like a lot more than that. And my leadership on economic policy issues, I think I'm uniquely qualified to be the next governor of the state.
Colorado hasn't had a Republican governor since Bill Owens. Our economy is booming. Why should they choose you?
Well, I think that I have experience in the business, in the real world, as I like to call it. In the business world, I've had leadership on public policy issues, and to maintain Colorado as a place where companies want to come and do business, where people can afford to buy a house for the first time. Affordable housing is a huge problem for young people starting their careers in Colorado. I think it helps to elect a chief executive who has experience in the business world, has had experience on important public policy debates here in Colorado, and can combine the two and get to work solving our problems. And I think I'm uniquely qualified to do just that.
I know you're a strong opponent of sanctuary cities. What do you think? And that is one of your main issues, right?
Absolutely.
So what is it about immigration that needs to change? What would you like What would you like to see happen here in Colorado?
Well, I was very proud that at the Colorado State Assembly a few weeks ago, Nick Rogers, the head of the Denver Police Union, stood up and supported my candidacy. And I think he did that because he knew and knows that I will have the back of law enforcement as governor. I think we need a consistent policy across all of our 64 counties so that the sheriffs and DAs that are on the front lines of trying to keep our communities safe know that the governor of Colorado has their back and will protect them. And we have some district attorneys now and sheriffs, Sheriff Bill Elder down in El Paso, that is being sued by liberal groups for simply trying to keep somebody who is a convicted felon incarcerated, and that's wrong. The governor of Colorado should support those sheriffs who are simply trying to keep our communities safe.
So what would you like that policy to be then?
So I would pursue every avenue I could to restrict funding from a state level against a city that decided to declare itself a sanctuary city. I would look at every legal option possible so that we had one single uniform policy that took people that were felons and did not treat them with more rights and protections than law-abiding U.S. citizens.
What are the other issues that will be your primary issues that will differentiate you from? We have a strong slate of candidates here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think dealing with infrastructure is going to be huge. That's going to be one of my top priorities. We have crumbling infrastructure. We have misplaced priorities in the department right now. Last year, to my strenuous objections, the head of the department at the time, Shaylin Bott, chose to spend $150 million on new offices for the bureaucrats at the Department of Transportation instead of new roads for all of us. I think that is misplaced priorities. So transportation is huge. Figuring out how to make Medicaid sustainable. We've extended Medicaid since the president's health care mandate to 600,000 Coloradans have no idea how to pay for it on an ongoing or sustainable basis. Fixing our entitlement system, which continues to be a drag on our state budget. All those are economic priorities, and those are the reasons that I actually wanted to be treasurer, and I will have even more ability to impact and fix those issues as governor.
Walker Stapleton, thank you for taking the time to be with us on Politics
Thanks for having
and Fun.
me. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back.